Hi, it's Paul from Model Builder International. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, that way you'll get notified of all the future videos. So today we're going to have a look at a new kit of HMS Ark Royal from AJM Models in Poland. But this is not the Ark Royal you're probably thinking of. This one is the first British seaplane tender. This is HMS Ark Royal from 1915-18. First thing I'll say is we sell this kit on our online shop. A link to that is go to the website, the link for that's underneath this video, then go to the bottom of the article, you'll see a link to the store. And at the moment I'm pretty sure we've got about the best price around when you include shipping and everything. Anyway, HMS Ark Royal. This Ark Royal was the first ship designed and built as a seaplane carrier. She was originally laid down as a merchant navy ship, but the Royal Navy bought her in 1914 after a keel had been laid, and she was modified to carry seaplanes. In the First World War she participated in the Gallipoli campaign with her aircraft conducting reconnaissance and observation missions. January 1918 several of her aircraft unsuccessfully attacked a German battle cruiser that tried to leave the Dardanelles. After the end of the war, Ark Royal mostly served as an aircraft transport and depot ship, recommissioned in 1930 to serve as a training ship for seaplane pilots and to evaluate aircraft catapult operations and techniques. She was renamed HMS Pegasus in 1934 to free up the name for the World War II aircraft carrier of the same name. She was assigned to the Home Fleet at the beginning of the Second World War, took on tasks as an aircraft transport in addition to training duties. She was temporarily modified to serve as the prototype fighter catapult ship in late 1940. Early 44 she was a barracks ship, and she was sold in late 1946 and sold again in 1949 for scrap. Okay, so let's see what we get in here. This is HMS Ark Royal, 1915 version of her, by AJM Models, 1/700th scale, waterline series, resin kit, made in Poland. So let's see what we get. Open it up. It's a good solid box, nothing much is going to come astray in there. Well, everything is wrapped up. I think these are just packing pieces to hold things in place. That's obviously the hole. That. Instructions. I'll just move that away a bit. There's a nice PE sheet. Looks like there's little decals in there, and there's wire in there as well. Bag full of small resin parts. I'm not going to take them out just yet, but I can see the ship's boat there. Looks nice. I'll have a close look at these in a second. This one I'll open up because there's some bigger parts in here. I'm not going to lose anything. So there's basically a resin plate with all the smaller parts on it. Oops. I can see there's detail on the decking, detail inside the dinghies as well. And then we got ship's boats, again with detail inside them. They're really quite nice. We got small parts here, really small parts. Got some really nice little detail parts here. Right, I'll just open this up. Okay, there's the main hull of the ship. Portholes, details on the sides there. Top of the rudder at the end there. It's a waterline ship, of course. Detail on the deck. Side detail on the superstructure, and on the top there. Like this. It's really nicely done. I'm not seeing any imperfections or blemishes anywhere. You know, like little bubbles and things. Not seeing any of that. Just lots of nice detail. Even down to on the sides of the thing, and there's even an overhang in the hangar bay there. I think that's what you probably call it. So that looks pretty neat. Let's have a look at, see what's inside here. But I'll have a, like I said, there'll be close-up photographs of everything. Yeah, here's basically decals for the 1/700th seaplanes, and I'm thinking that's photo etch for the struts between the wings, because obviously they'd be biplanes. And I'm thinking that's what these parts are, basically wings, 1/700th wings. So that's pretty neat. And ship's railings plus lots of other bits and bobs in there. I'll have a close look at those in a minute. And the instructions, let's hold them all out. I'll go through all these in more detail in a second, but basically individually printed sheets. And it all looks nice enough. Going through getting the photo etch to the main parts. Photo etch cranes. That's all nice, and there's all the First World War seaplanes of varying types. Colour call out there. Do we have the colours for there's the colours for the ship herself, and a couple of photographs of the completed model. So, looks pretty neat. What I'll do is I'll take photographs of everything. Those will be on the website. There'll be a link to the website underneath here. And yeah, and we'll have a closer look. The history of this particular HMS Ark Royal in plastic and resin is real easy. There isn't any. This is the only kit available of this ship in pretty much any scale. The only other option than this kit is building one from scratch yourself. So inside the box there is a lot of stuff. We've got 153 resin parts plus a solid resin hull, one PE sheet with about 300 parts, 6 small PE sheets with 84 parts which are for the aircraft. There's several small decal sheets for the ship and the seaplanes, 4 sheets of double-sided paper giving you the 7 pages of instructions and a colour page of parts layout painting guide, and there's a couple of copper wires in there as well. So I'm not going to go through all the steps because there's over 70 of them and we'll be here a long time and we'll get bored. But what I'll do is have a quick scan over 2-3 pages and just show you some of the key parts. So page 1, we'll start with that one. Notice that the parts are numbered. If the numbers are in a round box, then it's a resin part. If the numbers are in a square box, it's a photo etch part. And if the numbers are inside like a double-walled box, then that means those parts come from a certain step of the build. So anyway, step 1, the main hull. This is a really nicely detailed main hull. Lots of parts on there. There's even an undercut in the hold. I'm not quite sure how they did that one when they're pouring the resin, but it's there. Lots of nice detail. Coming down the page, we start with basically the big bits building the superstructure, and this kit is as much photo etch as it is resin, but you end up with some really nice detail, and you'll also be playing with some really small parts. Now we'll have a look at step 3 that starts with step 32. You will need some plastic rod when you're building this. See here it says measure a diameter of 0.3 millimeters and 8.8 millimeters long, so it gives you the dimensions of any extra bits and pieces you're going to need. And again, adding more detail, loads of photo etch, and the ship's guns go on this page as well at the very aft of the ship. And again, lots of nice detail, and the instructions look good, telling you exactly what you're going to need extra and how to make things. A quick look at page 5 that starts on step 44, and you get all the details for making the ship's mast. A lot of it is scratch built, but it shows you the diameters of rod that you'll need to make it. And again, a quick look at page 7. Basically, you can see here this is a rigging diagram showing you where you have to add the wires, and they give you 4 different views here, and it's also adding in a few last parts as well, but mostly for the rigging diagram is what this page is all about. And lastly but not leastly, on the very last page, this is all about the aircraft that you're going to make. Down the right hand side you get a painting guide, essentially just 2 colours, and you get enough views to know what to paint where. And you get the build instructions down the left. Some of these small 1/700th aircraft have a crazy number of parts, over 20 parts for some of these individual aircraft. So you'll no doubt have some fun doing these and need magnifiers, but again, the level of detail you'll end up with is pretty impressive. So we'll talk about paints and decals. The painting is on the front page, is called out in the life colour range. Should be easy enough to swap that over to any particular range you use, using there's online resources for that. You also get a couple of colour photographs of a build of the real thing. That also helps sort out exactly what gets painted what. So that should help you also get, we just saw on the back page, the colour diagrams for all the aircraft. You also get a tiny small decal sheet about the size of a thumbnail for each of the aircraft, and there's also a couple of small similar sized decal sheets for the ship herself. This all should go well. Just have to be careful with the teeny tiny 1/700th aircraft decals, they'll definitely want to float away. So, an overall conclusion. This is the first kit I've seen from AJM Models, and it's quite impressive actually. The detail on the resin is very nice. Lots of fine stuff. The actual parts on the aircraft are virtually see-through in places, they're that thin. Lots of photo etch to go with it to increase the detail. You also do some scratch building as well for some masts and some other parts. You get details for that. Nobody's ever made a kit of this before. So it's quite an impressive model. The only downside is lots of small parts, and you'll definitely need some experience with photo etch and working with resin before you start this one. Other than that, very, very nice, and thanks to AJM Models for sending it along for us to have a look at.